Ritchie.
Hey Luke, how's things?
It's going all right, man. How you doing?
Yeah, going good. Yeah,
Yeah,
things are starting to ease up a little over here, lockdown wise
yeah,
and stuff. Like, 'cause, I mean, each country's different, so like
yeah.
we're actually divided now because although we're the UK, like each country and like Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, England, they've all got separate rules now. Like they've
Uh-huh.
sort of swayed past a little bit because so, like we're a devolved government, so like we
Mm-hmm.
have like rules on like health and economy and stuff like that. But
Mm.
like the big things like terrorism and immigration, that's overruled by the UK government. So, but like things are easing up. So, like
Yeah, yeah,
I've been out a bit more. So how's things on your end?
yeah. Both the same. Like some stuff's open. Like there are some bars open and stuff, but yeah, it's still kind of like they can only have a certain amount of people in the bar, and like you have to kind of like sit like apart like at one
Yeah,
table and then you miss a table. So I mean, whatever, it's like what can you really do? You just kind of have to go with it the best you can. Like
yeah. That's pretty much the same as we've got. Like tomorrow we're opening indoor pubs, but bars, but right now it's just outdoors. So
yeah,
like sort of like benches with like sort of outdoor setting, but it's all sort of like restricted. You've got to book a table and all that. So yeah,
yeah, it's like I find like some people are a lot like friendlier. Like I've noticed that like some people are cool. Like they're like I think especially the girls, it's like I don't think they realized how much they missed like getting attention. It's like
yeah,
which is fair. I mean, it's fine. It's fair enough. Like, so that's I think a positive thing. Like, it's like it's cool. So,
yeah. I've noticed that as well. I mean, I've not seen too many because like
hmm
where I live and stuff,
yeah,
like unless you're actively going out just day to day, you maybe see one or two or stuff like that. But I've not seen too many groups in that sense. But then I've not been like the bar's only open a couple of days ago, so like the outdoor bar sat I've not been yet and stuff like that. So like
yeah,
I'm sort of figuring out like my approach to stuff like that because like I've told you before, I'm on a sort of scheduled thing, so like I've not really added those to my schedule because I'm kind of waiting to see. But especially there's a lot opening up tomorrow, like
hmm
cinemas, museums, and stuff like that.
mm.
So like and that's indoors, so we'll wait to see.
It's
But
been a
I think overall, I think just in general, a lot of people are a lot more friendlier because
yeah,
I think
man.
one of the big things is just even having the opportunity to speak with people.
Yeah,
Most people have been stuck in their house,
yeah,
like
yeah.
or
I've
very limited.
I've noticed that,
Yeah,
man, too. Even just like going to Starbucks or something, like I find just people are like more friendly because they realize like, holy shit, I've been sitting in my fucking house now for like months on end, like never seeing anyone. So I think if you're just like a little bit friendly to people now, it's like a lot more like the opens are like way easier. I found a lot.
yeah,
Like people are just the average person. Like it just can be just like some guy working at a bar or something or at Starbucks. It's like they're just way more people are just way more open to engaging,
yeah.
which is
Like,
good. I think that's really good. Like,
oh, it's a great thing, and hopefully it sticks for a while. I
I
mean,
hope so,
not
man.
like if the coronavirus is going to stick around for a while, because although it's going actually down,
Mm.
physical distance and stuff, that's going to be in for a good 6 months at least. Still,
Something's
I
gonna
think
be
anyway.
some
Yeah,
kind of
so I
stuff.
mean, people are going to keep friendly. I think for the rest of the year,
I hope.
it's at some point it's going to slip back and stuff. People just more
Probably.
used to it, but like enjoy it while it lasts. And
Yeah, because I think
in
people. It's like
terms
you
of the
don't.
actual, yeah,
It's like people didn't realize. It's like when you just had like this unlimited supply of people to just ignore, or just kind
yeah,
of like you could just kind of be like, no, I don't want to say hi, I don't want to. It's like you get so used to that, but it's like, yeah, but all of a sudden that's not existing anymore. It's like you don't really
yeah.
have many options. Like there's not, you don't like if you're an attractive girl, it's like now you don't have like 25 guys a day like looking at you and like, oh, like now that's not happening. So I think they can appreciate it a little more, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, because everything's been online, and
Yeah.
a lot big. Now that's the thing. Like for me, I've really just been using online the way that I've always used it.
Yeah.
Like just like now, like Tinder and stuff like that. Now and then, like like because you've got to look at the big picture. Like the rules here, there's not really much. I mean, it's getting to the stage where you probably can, but lately, apart from with the phase, like we're in like phase 3 now, but really for the last 4 months, there's been no incentive to use that because there's not much meet up point. So like a lot of guys just use it, just chat. There's no actual meeting point. I like to use it as a sort of way, right? Go from the Tinder into the WhatsApp. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that like
so.
Yeah.
Like,
I think guys who get into the habit of just like chatting with girls on Tinder, I don't think that's a good habit to get into. Like, you don't like, for me anyway, I don't get that. Like, you don't want to match with some girl and then be like, just like chatting with her for like 2 weeks. Oh, how are you doing? Oh, how's things in your life? Oh, cool. What'd you have for dinner? Like, I don't think that's a good pattern.
Yeah, no, it's not a good pattern at all because the more you know online, the less you know offline as well. So that just makes it a lot harder to have conversations about different topics offline. Like, especially for someone that's more of a beginner guy and stuff like that, because that's a big mistake that they make, that you really get to know the girl well online.
Yeah.
And when it comes to so the girls already get high expectations because you're telling the girl all this stuff and stuff. Whereas if you actually get them out quicker, then she's got low expectations. She's just thinking, all right, this guy, let's see what he's made of. I can think, but the thing is, I can see how guys are using the word because you can't actually. There's very limited stuff like that, business and stuff like that. Like, I mean, different states, different countries have different rules, but overall, it's been very limited in that sense. So I can see how, like, even for girls, like, girls will just be online, like, but that's the thing because when they do notice people outside, it really catches their eye more. So
way more. It's like, and that's even why for a while I'd stopped even using online because I didn't like that. It's just like you can have like a brief interaction with a girl like on a sidewalk at a stop sign and it's so much more powerful than it's ever going to be on Tinder because they just it's just a totally different thing. Like they could match with 200 guys on Tinder easily, just 200 guys like it's nothing. But very few of those guys would ever actually engage with her in person. And so if you're the one guy who engages with her, she's just gonna forget all about those 200 guys she matched with on Tinder. Some chode who's chatting with her back and forth for fucking 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, how's everything? How's your dog? Did you get to the dentist? And that guy thinks he's getting somewhere. Oh yeah. What does your grandmother like sewing too? And all this retarded shit, right? all this retarded shit, and it's like that same girl. Like you're just like walking down the street, and you're like, oh hey, what's up? Oh yeah, sweet, sweet pair of shoes. Are you going for a run or what? And it's like she just forgets all about that guy who's been texting her for 3 weeks. It's just there you are, right? I'm right here. Forget about that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at it this way. Even the guys that have got good profiles on Tinder, and they're actually guys that are like very good looking and stuff like that. Even those guys, I'm not going to say they struggle, but they struggle a lot more online because, like, it's just a quantity thing. Like, these attractive girls you're talking about, 200 Matt, like, nobody really stands out. Like, but so let's just say that the 5 that doesn't fuck the setup, doesn't fuck anything up, he's going to be at least as high on her mind as the guy that's doing absolutely everything, executing online.
Yeah.
And like even the guys, that's what I'm saying. Even if you absolutely nail online and execute everything, like the profiles, like just on point, you're the equivalent to the 5 that's just had a good interaction and done everything. Like, had a reasonable interaction, like not fuck the interaction up, and maybe you've exchanged numbers.
Yeah. and
it'll be so much harder.
and plus then you got that reference experience of actually
Yeah.
talking to the girl and actually getting the number, and it's so much more valuable. When you're just using Tinder, you don't get any of that feedback. You're just like, oh, I don't know, she didn't swipe. It's like you're not learning anything. Like, you know, you can, for me anyway, like I'm first of all only when I get professional photos taken, like professionally well done photos where I look like ultra cool in the photos. Otherwise, there's no point at all, I think. And even then, it's only as like a secondary. It's only like you put that on there and then you go out. Like if you came and visited a new city, it's like, yeah, get your professional photo out there and your professional profile out there. Just go through and see who you match with. And that whole time you're out. You're going out to the bar, you're going out to the club, you're going to the beer gardens, you're out, da 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 da. And then when you come home, it's like, yeah, you text all the girls you met, and then you text all the girls you matched with. So you're not reliant on that, right?
Yeah, you're just using it as a tool, really.
Yeah.
Like you're using a tool just to get the girl out. Let's go to the bar. Let's go play pool. Go swimming if you want. Let's jump. Let's jump off the cliff. I'm saying, when you're using it in the other regard, then it's not a good thing. Now, like we say, like online and stuff, the last couple of months have come into play more, but guys should just be careful with it because, like, you just, I can see how you can maybe use it a little bit more, but just don't get carried away. That's my advice.
No, that's a good point, man. 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Okay, well, should we move along a little bit because we got a few topics here we were thinking about talking about. So
yeah, we were just discussing before we started this.
Yeah, we're saying that. So yeah, man, it's like, you know, I guess we're talking here now about like meeting all the girls. It's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, especially once you get up into like an intermediate level, this is especially an intermediate issue that we're going to talk about today. But it's also good for beginner guys to hear this because they can also hear this and they can get a vision of where they're going, and it's still going to help your game from where you're at, right? So the idea is it's like, okay, great. So once you start meeting all these girls and you're collecting numbers and you're meeting fucking 100 girls in a weekend, you're collecting 10 numbers in a night, you're getting a couple dates out on a weekend and blah, 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 blah. And you've been doing that for months and months and months, a fucking year, whatever it is. You start to get to this point to where it's like, okay, I've met a lot of these girls. A lot of them are coming out. A lot of them are texting me. That's great. But you have to start to ask yourself, like, what actually, like, am I doing here? Like what actual, like, kinds of girls do I even like? And what am I even, like, offering them? Like, okay, great. This girl came out and we've been hanging out for fucking 3 months. Now she likes me. What do I do now? Right? That's the real nightmare. That's the real fucking... That's what guys are really scared of, is that.
Yeah. Most guys are scared because they don't get to that option in the first place. Let me tell you this. I think most guys think about that before they're at the stage to think about it.
Oh, good point, yeah.
So I think, like, we're talking about beginner advice. Beginner advice is, let's just focus on getting out, doing the work, putting the work in, and then you'll get to a stage where you have that option, and you might ask, how will I know when I have that option? You just know, but it's not. This video is not for gut feelings because you'll have the gut feeling. That's what I'm trying to say, but I'll make it a bit easier for you. You'll know because you're not planning it.
Yeah.
It happens sort of organically in the sense that you've put the work in.
Yeah.
You went out, like, you maybe went out, like, I talked about the 30-day challenge. So you've done your 30-day challenge, right? And you're like, maybe you're still beginning if you're struggling. So you're only getting dates at this stage. So nothing's really happening. It's just dates. You get a couple of dates a week. So you're thinking, okay, I'll keep going out 4 days a week now. 4 days, 4 nights, make it quite a solid thing. So you're out another month, then the casual relationships start happening. So now you've got 2 casual relationships going. This is maybe 4 or 5 months down the line. Casual relationships are good, they end. Then you've got another couple of casual relationships. Then there's a super attractive girl you're real into and stuff like that you've met. So this is like 5 or 6 now. at that stage, you're starting to realise I really want to keep the other ones going because this, like, and you've clearly told this one that you're just not looking for anything. It's just casual. Now the girls, on the other hand, they'll abide by that because they don't want to lose you.
Mm.
If you're putting a lot of good groundwork in and stuff like that, they'll want to keep you. They'll put up with it. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put up. They might not be totally happy because they might be saying, "Oh, like you're saying, oh, I'm 27, 28. I want a different stage now." But they'll put up with it for the meantime because they think, "Oh, Benjamin, he's a cool guy." Like,
and he's here.
I'm just from random names.
Yeah.
So they'll put up with it, and then most guys' relationship will end at some point.
Mm.
But you might decide you've three going now or two going. You might decide, right, I really like that one. I want to make more of it. You get that feeling. You're thinking, what stage am I at in my own life? Like, things like, is this what? And then time will sort. So you'll get that sort of feeling coming in, and then a week or two will pass, and you just, right, I'm going to make this more like a proper thing. I'm going to put the other girls to the side, and I'm going to focus on this. But you've already had that abundance with you. You went loads to the stage. You've got a full casual relationship going, so it's done on this. It's really done in the right manner. Whereas if you're a beginner, like I'm saying, like just focus on going out, put the effort in, and building up.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, totally. Once you're out a lot and you've met a lot of girls and you've got a lot of them, like you said, 2 or 3 going along at once, and one of them you start to like more, it's like, that's when you do have to start to prioritize and find out what am I doing here. And I like what you said too about the other 2 girls who they might not like it that much, or they might be like, well, I want this and I want that. But as long as you just tell them, like, look, like, there's nothing I can really do about it. I like you too.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, I don't want to get married. Like, I can't, not right now. I'm in no rush. Like, I can't help that. Like, I don't want to raise a family. I don't want to do that. It doesn't appeal to me, you know? And so she can understand that. It's like a girl can get that. If you just tell the girl that, you're cool. You just tell them, like, you're really cool, but I don't want to raise a bunch of kids. Like, that's too much. And you just tell, and it's like, so you can tell the girl that, and it's like, and then she can make her decision, and you can even, like, help her along. If she's like, well, like, like, I do really want to have a family. And you're like, okay, that's great. And she's like, well, I don't know if I really want to have a family, like, right now. She's just like, I want to have it someday. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, you should definitely keep your eye out for a guy who also wants that. And you just tell her, like, definitely try to meet a guy who also wants to do that. And maybe she probably will try. But you know what's going to happen a lot of the times, too, is, like, a lot of guys just aren't that fucking cool. And, like, what ends up happening a lot of times is, like, you end up looking pretty cool, and she's just like, well, whatever. Like, I'll just stick around with this guy for a while. Or maybe then she will meet, like, some other guy that wants to have a relationship, and she'll be like, okay, good, I'm going to go with this other guy now. And she'll try that for a while, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, you put it from the female perspective that there's still a lot more pressure for them to have this sort of settling down. Like,
well, that's it.
Sort of thing, like, family start, like, I mean, if you look at 60, 70 years ago, I mean, if a girl wasn't married and didn't have a family, it was really frowned upon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, own families were saying, right,
you're just
picking someone. So I'm saying, there's not that pressure's gone now.
Right.
There's still a somewhat pressure in the air. Like, there's still a sort of, I would say there's subconscious pressures now, because although they're not as right in the face, like, family or...
But it's still there. I think it's still there to it.
Yeah. It's still there to a degree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so that pressure's there. and that's the other thing, because of that pressure there. Girls won't just wait until this super cool guy that
Right.
really just ticks every box.
Right.
Like they'll settle down with someone average.
Oh yeah.
Like if it comes to
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't want that to be you either.
No. Below average is a bit of a different story. I would say below average, like, well, then it would come down to the girl more.
Yeah.
Is she below average, stuff like that, that sort of thing. But like, what you find is a lot of average guys that have just kind of like they've got by basically.
Yeah.
Got by they're the sort of, like, I would class them as the sort of red zone for that. They've got to watch out for that, because I'm saying, like, what happens is those marriages can be in danger.
Yeah.
Because the guy gets too needy. The guy gets like he's too in her face all the time. He's too needy. Like he's just he causes a bit of anxiety with her and stuff like that. Like all those problems. And then what happens is, worst case scenario, if he cheats on him, like like this girl with no intention of
in
doing
fucking
that,
Ibiza. She goes to Ibiza for the
too drunk.
She goes to Ibiza for the weekend with her friends for like a bachelorette party, and that's where it happens in Ibiza with some bartender, some DJ, right?
Yeah,
and then she
was out to Ibiza for.
And then she just tells everybody. She tells her friends and shit, and then he finds out about it, and she's just like, well, whatever. And then he's devastated. Anyway, we all know the story.
It's one of those things. Like, so let's say you're a guy that's kind of at the beginner stage. I think we really need to clear for the beginners just to put the work in.
Yeah.
Any other? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for beginners. Just put the work in.
For the beginners.
Get to the stage where that stage.
Yeah, like for the beginners too. It's like man. It's like, dude, it's you're playing a long game, bro. It's like you're in this. It's a long game. The guys' game. It's a long game, man. You're not in a rush at all, bro. That's where all your power is the fact that you're not in a rush. You don't need to get married. You don't need to have a family. You don't have any pressure for that. In fact, you should spend your time just realizing, I probably won't even do that. You know, I haven't even really thought about it. You don't even need to think about it. And that's where a lot of your power comes from. Like, let her think about that. They're always thinking about it. Oh, when am I going to get, what kind of wedding am I going to have? What kind of marriage am I going to have? And then your power just comes from the fact that you're like, I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. And she's like, what? And you're just like, I don't know. Why have you thought about it? And she's like, got her whole wedding planned out at home. And you're just like, nah, I've never thought about it before.
She's got the 100-page book written out. All details.
Yeah.
So, what about guys that are at that intermediate stage that they have been out a lot?
Yeah.
But the results are coming in as in they've got that sort of abundance going. Like, they're at that stage that they've got choices now. Then it comes down to what you want. Right?
Yeah.
Part, I would think.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you know, it's like what ends up happening too. You know, you're starting to get to the intermediate phase. These are some fucking signals when you become intermediate. It's when you actually start to have to really like weigh up the options with these girls. Like you have to seriously take some fucking time out of your day to be like, okay, like what have we got going on here? Because you legitimately yourself begin to care about the girls. And you don't want them to get mixed up or hurt or waste their fucking time. So you have to really look at what's going on, and you have to delve into her situation, into her life, and be like, girl, where are we at here with you? Like, okay, you're 26. It's like, it's like you haven't really got any career going yet. You work at a bar. It's like realistically, like, girl, I don't. You need to do some work on yourself. Like, I don't think you're even ready to start a family and stuff. And then you can start to see where she's at, and and you can be like, I'm not really the guy for you. Like I don't want to start a family, and I don't even
Yeah,
think you're ready for that. So it's like we're just there's no more overlap here. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's where you can start to find out
yeah,
like it's not a win-win anymore. Like we aren't really there's nothing I can do for you because you're not even ready to have a family, but you just think you are. And so we're not there's nothing to do here. So that's one example.
yeah. That's a good example because that comes down to the pressure thing. Then
Right.
obviously in her head she's thinking, "Oh, I'm 26. I've got to start putting
Yeah.
that pressure on. Let's kind of I've got this guy, a cool guy going, pretty cool anyway. Like so, let's go down that avenue. Let's discuss it and stuff like that.
Mm.
But it all comes back to like what you're saying. Like the guy's got to work out: is this one for me, or is it just someone I'm happy to spend time with? How deep is a connection with her? Like because there's girls that you like spending time with and you like being out on a regular basis with, but you wouldn't want to go any further with them.
Mm.
And you've made that clear because like you've told them originally, like right now I'm not in a place where I want like a fixed closed off relationship.
Mm.
I want to meet others. I want to kind of act like some scene. You've told that from the offset.
Mm.
They accept that from the offset, but there's always that hope that look, maybe if I get him to stick around after a couple of months, he'll change his mind.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with changing your mind.
Yeah,
make sure
yeah.
It's coming from you. Make sure it's not just because she's influenced it, because that's a mistake there. Because if you're letting someone influence it, then you're just kind of doing it to more please her.
That's a good point there. What
you want as well?
Yeah, what you're getting to here is almost an advanced point. That's a very nuanced point of this kind of thing where it's like, yeah, now you're really getting into some game here where it's like that is kind of the whole game is like they are just kind of like winning you over. Right? Like it's just that's the whole game. It's just like it never makes sense for a guy to fucking bother to marry a girl. Like, you know, in a way. Now, this is a very advanced, fucking nuanced point here. So it's and I think you're gonna get this, and maybe some of the viewers who are a little more. So, guys, watch this. Check this out. This is kind of the whole sort of point of it. It's like if you look just to nature and to tribal societies or whatever, it's like the young men generally like they don't really have any interest in like getting married. They want to go with their spears and fucking spear an elk or something or throw rocks at shit. And it's kind of the other like it's kind of like the elders or whatever that sort of like lump them in with a wife and being like, well, you're gonna marry Joey's daughter and you're gonna marry fucking Jimmy's daughter, and you're like, oh fuck, come on. And then she slowly wins you over with her femininity and her ability to fucking, you know, make the host look nice and stuff, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay. And then she pops out the babies, and you're like, well, they're kind of funny, and that's how it works.
Yeah. Well, it is biological when you think of it, because if you go back to the cave times, like, if that guy wasn't sticking around, those women and their kids didn't have shelter, they didn't have the food, like, they maybe didn't have the water bring back, like, down the river and stuff, like I'm saying, because the guys were out hunting and stuff like that. Whereas the guys, it didn't really matter as much for the guys because they could have multiple families, and quite a lot of guys did back in the day.
Yeah.
What happened is when we became civilized, so you're talking, I'll just throw a number out roughly, maybe 200 years ago, when we became more a civilized society, they'd already started to realise, because it's become more civilized, 200 years ago it started to become more like, okay, we'll have this guy with you, we'll have this, like,
right.
And it was more done by families even
as
well.
Oh yeah.
Or advisory, like you're saying, like Joey goes with this guy and stuff like that. So I'm saying, now 200 years later, that started to prevail in society, but the biological still sticks in that guys don't really care about that stuff as much. Not saying they don't care about it, they just don't care as much. And girls care a lot more.
Oh yeah.
So it's getting that combination there. But the one thing as well is that you talk about like getting the relation. Forget marriage and children until you actually got in the closed off relationship. But whether you want to get in the closed off relationship, that's what we've been talking about. It's all stages. It's all stages. But like it's very advanced in the sense of like when you're talking about like going into the advanced like the neurons points and stuff. It's like if the guy's got control over it, that that's a green flag for me, not a red flag.
Right.
Like when the guy's thinking, okay, she said that. What do I want? And he can think that without making the decision beforehand.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of hinting. She's saying this. She's saying this. She's saying, "Oh, I want to kind of like I thought we were going to get more now because this has been a while. Like, what's your thoughts and all that?" And he just says, "Well, we'll see what happens." And then he goes away and just thinks about it. He's just so casual about it because in his mind he's thinking, "Well, what is it I want?" Because you already know what he wants. Like for the most part, he already have kind of said like, okay, I'm liking this girl now, so maybe I will start to like. Sometimes he'll even bring it up on himself, like. But if she starts bringing it up and stuff like that, he'll have a rough idea. But for the most part, I think just be very careful with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Like you do not under any circumstances want to get yourself into a situation that you don't actually want just to make her happy. Like you're just like enjoying your life. You're just like in the gym working out, like kicking the fucking football around with your boys. You're just like, this is awesome. You're just chilling at home, just sleeping, eating fucking steak, just chilling. Like you're doing all right with your money, and you're just like, man, I'm good. Like it's like I don't want to get married. Like you just meet an odd girl here and there. It's like you hang out with a girl once in a while, and you're just like, that's enough, man, for me. It's like I'm good. And that a guy might go from that, so he has to be careful so that he's enjoying that life, and then a girl comes around and then she's just like, well, I want to get married, and he's just like, he doesn't even want to. He's like, but I love what I'm doing. I love kicking the football around and eating steak, and this is great. And she's just like, well, I want to get married. Like we have to get married because blah blah blah. And then he's like, oh, okay, I guess so. And she's like, yeah, come on, in this kind of wedding and that kind of wedding. And he's like, all right, that's a huge problem. And you guys really do have to be fucking aware of that.
Oh, that's a red flag because the guy's going down to her demands.
Yeah.
Like, even the way you described it, he's thinking, I quite like playing football. I quite like going to the gym.
Yeah.
I quite like, And then he's kind of thinking, oh, well, I'll just have to. Like,
yeah, you don't. It's
you
like
don't have to. Yeah.
You don't, man. You don't want to. Even you know what? Let's even say this. Even if the shit you like doing actually like isn't even that great. Say it's not even playing football with the boys. Say it's boring. Say what you like doing is like, well, I just really like watching documentaries about history. It's like I don't know. I really enjoy just like reading fantasy novels. It's just I really like it. And see, even that guy, he's not leading a very exciting life, but he legitimately enjoys that. He's just like, he thinks to himself like, yeah, I just love doing this. And then he just meets a girl. And then the girl's just like, oh, well, we don't have time for fantasy novels and documentaries. Like, we have to get married. Come on, Joey, let's go. And he's just like, oh, okay. See how that's a huge problem, bro?
Because that's the thing, because like you can live your life the way that you want to live your life.
That's
like,
right.
You can do as much self-development as you want, and you can do as little self-development as you want. Like if you want to watch 12 movies a day, that's a bit extreme. But let's say you want to watch 6 movies a day. So you wake up, you eat your breakfast, you watch a couple of movies, lunch movies, dinner movies, and that's all you do. Like it's not a very productive life, in my opinion. And I think it's probably not a good thing, but if it makes you happy and that's what you want to do, go and do it. If you want to live that life, live that life.
Yeah, it's
and that's the key thing. Are you enjoying it? Now, that guy might think, okay, I'm enjoying that just now, but maybe in a year or two, I want to do other things. Like maybe he doesn't want to get into self-development, but maybe he thinks, right, I want to like start doing more exercise and stuff like that. Not primarily self-development, but like he wants to improve himself a little bit, like just kind of, or I want to learn a new instrument, like learning the language, stuff like that. And then maybe there's other guy that's sitting there and he's got a very busy life. Like, he owns a company, he's at the gym 5 times a week, he's learning 3 different languages, he's traveling the world, stuff like that. Like, and then he's thinking, I want a different style of life. I want to actually like because you got a good guy's relationship when he's saying, I like that one. I want to kind of have a different lifestyle with her. That's
right.
a different.
That's different.
A good thing.
That's different. And see, this is different. Now we're getting into a new guy, right?
Yeah.
Now we're getting into a new guy. So this new guy, he is enjoying his life, right? He's into self-development. He's going to the gym, learning these languages. He's really doing a lot of things that he feels good about. And he's been seeing a couple girls. He's got a few girls around. He's like, it's all right. They're all right. And now what he's starting to think is like, hey, you know what? Like, this is nice. I do enjoy this. But he's like, I'd actually really like to add something more. Like, I'd really think I'd like to add like maybe a family, or like creating like a life with a woman that I like, and maybe a family, who knows. So now he's starting to change what he likes. So now this guy here, okay. So now he's in a position where he could, now his, what he wants is starting to change. And that's good. That's okay. That's fine. He's allowed to change what he wants. And so now, let's go with this guy now. So what's this guy now thinking when he's meeting girls? Where's he coming from now when he's out?
So this guy's still coming from the same strategy.
Right, that's right. Good point. Good point. Yeah.
It's still the casual relationships.
That's right.
Let's see how they go.
That's right.
That's the strategy I would go with for this guy.
That's right.
But he's more open-minded now.
Yes. Yeah.
In his mind, he's thinking, I'm quite happy more to have a girl that's just closed off relationship, settling down, stuff like that. I'm more happy to maybe have the family in the future and stuff like that. But he's still doing it in the open mind sense, like I'm saying that.
Totally. Everything you're saying there is like, that's the direct point. And I love how you said all that, because that just proves that like you're not just coming from this beginner point of view where you're just like, where's a wife? Can I meet? I'm looking for a wife. It's like, that's retarded. Like, no, that's retarded. And maybe I framed it up a bit that way, but you're totally right, man. This guy, now he's just more open-minded. He's like, he's just having these casual relationships, and now he's hanging out with 2 or 3 girls, and one of them now says to him like, hey, you know what? Like, here's the thing. You know what? Like, I just bought a new condo downtown and stuff, and it's like, what I was hoping was like, you know what? Like, whatever it might be that would move the relationship along a little more. Like, I was thinking over Christmas, like, whatever it is, my parents are coming to town. Like, what if, would you be interested in like, you know, like coming by for dinner, or whatever it is that would move that relationship along. And that brings up this whole new conversation, which is like, what is it that you're looking for in life? Now this guy, he now has the opportunity to say, hey, I'm open-minded. I'm open. Like, hey, I'm open. Like, let's have a conversation about that. Now we're getting somewhere. Now this guy and this girl, now they can have a serious conversation about, what are our options, right? I like that.
Yeah, because he likes that girl. He likes where she's going in life. He likes where he's going in life. He's thinking, okay, because I'm open-minded about it, now someone's came in my life that's suited for the way that I've been thinking.
Yeah.
So it's all done in sort of the right mindset, the right mind frame.
Yeah.
Then he'll just add, let's see where this goes. So maybe they'll move in together. Let's just see how this goes. Like, so it's just step by step by step.
Yeah.
But there's also the other option of, okay, these guys' relationships, they're not for me. Like, I'm open-minded, but these girls aren't for me in the long term, stuff like that. So, and then he meets another couple, but then there's the one that you're talking about, with stuff like that you think, okay, I'm going to take it to the next stage. So in the next stage, he's still got that open-mindedness, but he's locked it in now because he already knows, look, I really like this one. Things are going well. We're in the right mindset. We're in the right the right frame of mind. We're doing a lot together that we both enjoy. So let's take it next step, and then we can take it to the next step after if that step works.
Yeah, and he's just, and he's just, and then at least they can have a conversation, and they might say like, okay, cool, let's move this along a little bit, and maybe 2, 3, 4 months down the road, they might actually start to see some things that are like, hey, you know what? Actually, we're not quite on the same path here.
Yeah.
Maybe she's like, nah, you know what? Like, I'm really wanting to like start a family in the next like year or two. And the guy's starting to think like, yeah, I mean, I was thinking more like maybe in the next year or two we might like take a trip to fucking London together. Like that's about the speed I'm at. And she's like, well, I was hoping that like in a year or two like we'd be getting married and like having the baby or something. And so they can see where they're kind of owed a step. He's like, his steps are kind of like, well, geez, I mean, like he's like, married, like I like where you're going, but he's like, I'm a few years away from like getting there. And so you can see where their speeds are different, and they might then have to make the decision of like, look, we're not in sync. And that's where you got to be, and that's all part of becoming an intermediate and then advanced, is being able to make these calls with these girls with get this, imagine this, two guys talking about the women, and here's the point of it, for their best interest. Their best interest. Because we want their best interest. We don't want them to get their life fucking derailed. We don't want them to make a wrong decision. We want them to make the right decision for them. And so you can help, you can see what's right. That's when you have to be willing to be like, you know what? We're just not quite gonna line up here. And it's and I don't want to fuck around with it. I don't want to pretend and maybe a year and a half it's like, no, we're not quite on the right path. That's okay. And he can go back to what he was doing before. Seeing a couple girls, whatever, doing his languages, fine.
Yeah, and then maybe in 6 months' time, another one will come up that you really like. If that's still what he wants, because he could maybe go in with that girl, they're in the relationship, and then he realises they really want to have a family.
Yeah.
So I'm saying he could also change his mind again. Like I'm saying, obviously he's not just going to wake up and say, "Oh, I don't want a family now." I'm saying this would be over weeks, months, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Start to get little triggers, and then he's kind of just said, "No, this isn't for me." But let's say it was for him, but they're just not in sync. Now, can they come into some sort of sync together, or is the gap too off?
Right.
If she wanting things within a year and he's wanting things within 10 years, or is she wanting things within a year and he's wanting things within 3 years? Because that could be more realistic.
Yeah, maybe, like, that's part of working together too. It's like maybe there is room to work together, and maybe they can like, oh hey, okay, let's sort of work this out a little bit, like, and you can kind of do that, but this is all part of like getting into this position where you can even do that with a girl, right? It's like where you're even in a position to have these kind of conversations, which is really, at the end of the day, even bringing it all the way back to like a beginner point of view, that's all you're really trying to do, is you're just trying to meet someone, find out what kind of overlap you have in your goals, how can we work together to meet those goals. It's like even when you're just out in a night, it's like you just introduce yourself to a girl who's out there, some fucking blonde girl with a dress on, and you just meet her, hey, what's up? All you're trying to really find out is like, how are you doing? What are kind of your goals? And she's like, well, I'm 21 and I'm just out partying with my friends and I just looking at like to have some adventures tonight. And it's like, okay, I see where you're coming from. I love adventures. Huge fan of adventures. Love adventures. So, okay. So now we have some overlap here, right? It's like, okay, great. And so you're just helping her meet her goals. And then, okay, great. Well, I'm also looking for adventure, and let's go over here. Let's head over to this bar. And here we go to the park and whatever it is. And that's really just like that same conversation on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I want an adventure too, but first I have to go over and meet these friends, then I have to go to that bar, and then I have to get a piece of pizza. And it's like, okay, that's not quite in sync with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to leave right now. You're not? Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing, right? And you meet that girl in like 10 years, and she's in a different cycle. Or even in 10 minutes. No.
Then you're doing something well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If she's giving up her friends the next bar, that's a good sign.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you meet them the next 10 minutes. If you're meeting them 10 years, then unless it's by random thing, like a random choice.
Yeah.
Then it's a bad.
Yeah, that's not good. Thing. No. 10 minutes. Yeah. You see her in 10 minutes, she'll have a totally different mindset. Literally, in an hour, for sure. In an hour, it'll be. She'll be like, I want to go here, I want to go there, I'm meeting my friends, and da da da. An hour goes by, and you're like, yeah, you ready to go? Yeah. Let's go.
You just make it snappy, like that, yeah. But like you're saying there, like it's just all steps along the way, and just getting that mindset about you that, like, okay, these guys are in a place that can make those decisions, and these guys are in a place that shouldn't be making those decisions because they're just not at that stage of the journey. And then it comes down to what you want, and then what sort of life are you living? Because so that's like so what you want is number one. I was just going to add in a point there, so I'm saying what you want is number one. So like once you get into that intermediate advanced stage, what you want becomes the important. That will point you in the right direction. That will point you as in, okay, I'll have a couple of guys' relationships, but I'm still open-minded that if a girl comes up that I really like, I'm willing to take it the further. I'm willing to take it more long-term, closed off. Like, if it's someone that really, really in sync with me and stuff like that. Then the other thing is, what's your lifestyle? That's number two. What's your lifestyle?
Oh, yeah, good point, yeah.
So, like, and this is where, like, I know I was, like, probably weren't going to brush up on this today, but that's where like this small town, big city comes into it.
For sure.
Like,
no, go ahead, man. That's,
yeah. Are you traveling a lot?
Yeah.
Do you live in a very small town? Do you live in a big city? So like, do you live in New York or do you live in like rural Kentucky? Like, you know, because then your options are more limited.
Yeah.
But here's a warning sign: make sure that you're not limiting your options.
Yeah.
Because like if you want, let's say you don't want to settle down and you're still in Kentucky, right? Now you could still live there, but you're wanting the lifestyle of I want to meet loads, I want to go out.
Yeah.
Okay, you've either got to move away, or you've got to travel more. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Now, if you get more ties, and maybe it's hard to actually move away, then fair enough, you just travel more. If you're in the position where you don't have much ties and stuff like that, and you don't have anything really keep you to the place, like the rural place, then you're probably actually better moving because then you can move to a big city, you can be there on a more permanent basis, and then you can still travel throughout. Like, because I'm saying, let's say you were in like New York, I'm saying you drive a couple hours. There's a couple other fairly big cities, like
Philadelphia,
Pittsburgh,
Washington D.C., Boston. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying there's quite a few big cities that are just like a good few hours drive away. So I'm saying,
And the thing is too with all that, it's like you're right about that. Like it's like you know, like the practicalities of your life. You know, it's like if you meet like a really high quality girl, right? She's like really high quality, like very intelligent, like very like attractive, like not just like hot like at a bar, but just like all around like very attractive girl, very like you know, like knows what she wants in life, has standards, just a high quality girl. Maybe has a fucking career or whatever it is. Maybe she's an athlete, I don't know. But you meet this girl and you start hanging out with her and things are getting along well, a couple months goes by, say you guys been hanging out for 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, she's fucking 26, 27, 28. It's like you've got to be realistic about what that woman is expecting from
Oh
you.
yeah.
Like I mean, she like, no, it's not all about money. We know that. It's not all about fucking that shit. We know that. But you do have to be realistic. I mean, like, this girl is going to want a certain level of lifestyle. Even if it's just like, well, we just have like a small house we live in, and it's just really well taken care of and decorated, and like, we have enough money to eat organic food or some shit, whatever kind of girl it is, and it's like, those things are taken care of. Even if she was used to a higher class, she might still like that just because of the quality of the lifestyle. She might forego some fucking millionaire guy for this lifestyle that you're offering just because it works and just because she likes it. It's cool. The
It
kids,
works well.
yeah, the kids are cute and they eat fucking organic fucking Fruit Loops or some shit, and she just likes it, right? She's one of them girls. But you still have to actually be able to provide that, right? And it's like, if you're in a position where you're just like, it's like, I make fucking, like $35,000 a year, and like half that goes to me traveling to Vegas for fucking at 4 times a year. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm driving a fucking, it's like I'm just driving like a scooter basically just around town while I'm picking up chicks on it. It's like, and you're not even like, you're just doing fucking pull-ups in your backyard. It's like, you're going to have to take a look at the like practicalities of like, you'd have to be willing to make some significant changes to your lifestyle in order to make it reasonable for this girl. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, more than likely, unless she's just one of those unorthodox ones that is like, oh hey, I've got a moped too.
I'll come to Vegas too. Yeah.
But even the way you described it, that just sounds like a party one. That sounds like one that's like for a couple of hours or maybe a week or two, like at best. But I'm saying, like, I'm not going to say it for 100% because maybe she's just. I'm saying it's more likely if that girl's at that stage, she's into those things, then she's not really like. If she's 27 or 28, that'd be quite surprising in itself. But even if she is, then she's just probably not wanting to settle down and stuff like that. Like, so you might have just misread it. But let's just say in the off chance she does, then fair enough. But for the most part, you're going to have some sort of level, as you're saying, right? But but then it all comes back to like compromising's fine, but don't over compromise.
Yeah.
Like, it's different saying, okay, I'm going to like, instead of having a little shed that I'm just out like the park, like building and stuff, I'm going to buy a proper house. Like we're going to actually have set food and stuff like that. But like, if the demands are too high, don't put up with it. If she's expecting fancy limos to come every day and pick her up from work, then
totally. And for this,
not the right fit.
And for this guy here in this scenario, it's like, I guess it's less about him compromising as it is about him just like accepting like the practicalities of what's going on. It's like if I want this girl to like carry on with me, it's just like realistically I would have to be willing to like change my lifestyle in order to keep her around. And it's like, if I'm not willing to do that, that's okay. And it's just not going to work. So these are just different things you have to start to work with.
Yeah. So it might be more in the sense of you're talking about, like, for example, like the Vegas thing, right? Okay, rather than go to Vegas 4 times a year, I'm going to go just once.
Yeah.
Or I'm not even going to go at all. That's just something that maybe happens every couple of years now. So then you've took that. Like, you've spent half your money in Vegas. Now you've got half that money.
That's right.
Okay. yeah. Now I'm going to open up an investment type bank.
Right, something like that.
Yeah. So you put things in place and stuff like that. Yeah, I get where you're going with that. Like that's quite nuanced in itself as well, because like all comes down to like that's probably when you're at a stage that you've been out, you've had fun, you've done all this,
Yeah.
You're at that sort of good state, because I don't think I don't like there is the off guys that do it, but I'm saying for the most part, most guys would want to like go through all the experience of just like going to these parties, going to
Yeah.
like especially if you that's just another thing, especially with the younger guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, for the younger guys, that's even more important, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Like 18 guys in their early 20s and stuff like that. Yeah, I would say if those guys have even got to a good stage, I would probably say just keep with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like there is the odd guy that might like just have that like maybe small village and stuff like that.
Yeah, some.
He went out, he travelled, yeah. But for the most part, like if you're maybe under 22, 23, what would I recommend? I would recommend just keep things casual.
Oh yeah.
Not and not over worry about all those practicalities.
Because you like as a guy, like again back to this point of like you're not in any rush. Like at all. Like you really aren't, man. Like you don't need. It's not that there's anything wrong with like getting married or having family. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's a huge commitment, and it's one that you don't really need to do. Really, I mean, you certainly can, but you don't really need to. And if you're definitely not in a rush, and that's just where I'm coming from. I don't know. What about you, man? Just like even personally, like are you in?
So personally, the thoughts come into your mind just to make the thought, like because I just like to think about those things just for fun and stuff like that. So For my part, like, although it's been a more difficult lately, but that sort of circumstances not within my control.
Yeah.
I always focus on stuff that doesn't. My kind of thing was like, let's just focus and just have fun with the social and stuff like that, because like I was putting more I was going into more with the purpose side of my tempo last year, but like this year I said because I'm 28, nearly 29, so I'm 13, 14 months away from being 30, so I was kind of saying, like, just for the rest of my 20s, let's just have fun, let's just kind of keep things casual. I was trying to add more nightclub scenarios, but that I was doing well with that for the first couple of months, but then obviously with the nightclub shut down, I've not been for 4 months, but then there's added benefits to that, because I like getting up early in the morning, my sleep pattern's better, so there's always added benefits. So like now I'm kind of at the stage of like, okay, we'll just keep it for another year, and then I'll see where things go. So like my personal thing is like, probably eventually I probably would like to have the family and stuff like that, but I've not put like, okay, that's definitely what's going to happen. Like I've just caught. It's really a maybe for me, but it's not something I want right now.
Okay.
So I'm very certain of that. I'm just enjoying myself, keep things going, and it's even like I want to just kind of keep with the social up until I'm 30 roughly. That's always a rough guide, because with the last few months and stuff, I might just give it another couple of months added on from when I'm 30.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you need a few extra months for that. Yeah, man, it's like.
So just to finish there, for me, it's just kind of social right now. But then, even when I get to 30, I'm not even the family thing. It might just more be a little percent that's added onto it. I still might be thinking like, okay, I'm going to go back to focus on the purpose just now.
No, you might go from like a 0 to like a 1 or a 2 out of 10. Like, now I'm about a 2. Yeah.
So what's your take on it, like from your personal standpoint?
Yeah, like I'm probably like, I mean, like I would say I'm definitely not in a rush. I would say if anything, I actually am even less in a rush now than like, because I'm 35, so I'm a little bit older than
yeah,
you. And I actually thought like a few years ago, like, oh, I'll probably really want to get married and da 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 when I'm in my 30s. And actually, it's kind of weird. I found almost less. I'm kind of just like okay, like I don't know, I can just kind of carry on where I am. And I also, yeah, I don't know, like it's not even just practically speaking, I don't think it would make sense. Like I don't have enough. I don't. I guess you'd make do, but like I don't feel like I really have a good business or a good
yeah,
career. It's like I don't really have any money. Like so I wouldn't want to really do that. Like I don't feel like it would really be fair almost to the girl. It's like, and I don't even really I don't really want to that much. Like so it's like again I feel like is it really fair to to create a family with a girl if it's not like something I deeply want to do? And it's like kind of like you were saying, it's like maybe a couple of points where I'm just like, well, perhaps, but it's not like hell yeah. It's so I would probably say I'm definitely towards the probably not. I'm towards that where I'm like I'll keep an open mind a little bit, like
yeah.
like who knows in 5 years, who knows in 10 years, perhaps. But it's like I'm kind of like it's not like severely calling me. I guess you could say that.
Yeah, I think the idea plays in everyone's mind because you always think about those things. Like, I think the ideal. Wonder what they'd like to go to space. I'm saying
Yeah,
they're all
for
ideas,
sure.
but then
Yeah,
now I probably will never go to space. But I'm saying it's always an idea.
yeah, for
Like,
sure. Yeah,
wonder how the ship
and
will
like
like. Yeah,
one other thing is like I'll admit this too. It's like it is very uh, challenging to get like into a very like emotionally like invested situation with the
yeah,
women. For me anyway, I find that like it's just I find it's a real like workout. It's like takes a lot of effort for me to like work through these emotions. Like what's this emotion? What is that emotion? It's just like it's a big effort for me. It's a huge effort, and I'm kind of just like not to say there's not some benefit. I'm sure there is. I'm sure it's very rewarding and stuff, but yeah, it's kind of a kind of taxing and yeah. I'd have to develop those muscles more, I think.
yeah. Yeah, it's all good until you're changing nappies.
I know, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, and then I'm just like, ugh, stressed out about it. Like, I don't really want to do that. But we're
yeah,
so lucky. We're so lucky to have these options, right? Like, our ancestors didn't even have the option. They didn't have
yeah,
like birth control and protection and all that, whereas we do, and we're not really like it's there's we don't need to have like a bunch of sons to work on a farm to bring in the harvest. Like we don't really need any of that. So it's like you know.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good point you make with the option. That like we're lucky that we're in a position to have the option. But probably when you think about it, like years ago, they probably didn't even they didn't think about it as an option. It was probably like trying to think the equivalent of something. It was like going to school,
Mm,
like because a lot of people back then didn't have a proper education and stuff like
mm,
that. But nowadays, like you legally have to go to school. Like you've got to go. You've got to. Like so, I'm saying we don't think of school as an option. We just think, oh, we've got to go. Like you
mm,
might not like, but I'm saying you just like it's the law. You've got to go. So I'm saying it was probably something like that in the sense of like they didn't know any different.
mm,
But the good thing is, like you're saying, we've got the option to decide.
mm,
So and like obviously for the for the younger guys, like they should just stick to having fun and stuff like that.
mm,
For the guys more 25 plus, then it just comes down to like what what do you want and what best fits your life because
mm.
like you can always keep an open mind about these things, but like we say, for some guys it's more open minded as and they're kind of thinking about going down that path,
Yeah.
and then for other guys like me and you, it's more just like it's a little trickle of a thought, but
Mm,
for the most part, like you're not that fussed about it, and I'm not that fussed about it. But that could all change.
It could. It could. And there's
10 years down the line, it could all be
yeah, for
different. Like,
sure, for sure. It could change, and I try to remain open to that. It's like, but also you do meet some guys who are like legitimately do want that, and so you do meet guys who are on their purpose. They are working on a business. They are doing something. They're like, I'm doing these things, and I'd like to eventually start a family. It's like, so
yeah,
that guy is feeling called to that, and it's like there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all
like,
wrong with that. It's not like you're suddenly just having tons of casual relationships is like suddenly going to be the best thing ever. Like, it's still a fucking hassle. You still got to meet all the girls.
yeah,
You still got to fucking text them. It's still bullshit. Like, but just because you get tired of that doesn't mean you should suddenly be like, well, I guess I'll get married now. It's like, no, man. If you're not, it's like just because you got tired of the casual relationships, maybe you should try something different. Maybe you should take up skiing or something. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, but what you find with some of those guys is like some of those guys, especially if maybe they're like more like 24, 25, stuff like that, and they're more on the sort of younger spectrum, is like they've just had that mindset's just been a higher percentage all along.
Hmm.
But like what you find is those guys were maybe not too bad to begin with because like maybe they were just like a kind of average guy and then they put the work in and then they got themselves to a good stage. But like they've maybe not had too many like casual relationships and stuff like that, but they've had enough to know what they want. You know what I'm saying? But maybe those guys, it's just kind of like I'm not that interested in that. Like because for most guys, they would want a lot of that happening. Like not so much to get a relationship, but more along the lines of like dates and stuff like that. Like going out loads, like that's what I would think before they would get into that other spectrum. But like you say, there is legitimate guys out there that just like kind of like they put that in, and they just want those things a bit quicker. But it's still coming the good quicker because for the most guys are not legitimate when they think about that because they don't have a good life set. They don't have a good life setup, but they also lack the abundance to begin with. So then it just becomes like. So then you've got to ask yourself, why are guys like that in the first place? Why would like because it doesn't make logical sense. And in their mind, they probably like they don't even know like what they want deep down. But I'm saying in their mind, so that all comes back to a couple of different things. It comes back to like ego. Ego's a big part of that, and then the other big thing as well is the social pressure. Now, like I said, it's not as emphasised on guys than it is with girls, but the social pressure's still there a little bit because maybe their gran or their auntie or something's that like, just brings it up. Oh, like hey, what's happening with that girl you were talking about or something like that? And he's like, oh shit, I better lock that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
that's just good practice to like resist that social pressure. It's like when people are like, oh, what's going on with this? What's going on with your job? What's going on with your business? That's just, again, good practice of being like, you just kind of like check that right at the door of like, yeah, like, I don't need that. I don't need your, no thanks. And that's what I wish, because see, if more of the girls were able to do that, it would help them out so much too, because they get so much of that. When's he gonna marry you? When are you gonna get married? And it's like you're just like getting her to force her way into a relationship that's not even going to be good for her. But you're just like forcing her into it because you like saying that. When are you getting married? When's he gonna marry you? It's like, shut up. Like the girl doesn't even want to marry him, but you're forcing her.
Yeah, but that's the thing. A lot, like you're saying, a lot of girls and even guys to an extent and stuff. Well, actually quite a few guys like they start giving reasons to why they've not done this or they've not done that, and they play into that. Yeah. Whereas, like, you can have the reasons in your mind because you know what life track you're on. What I'm saying, like, people don't need to know the ins and outs. Like, they don't really need to know those ins and outs. Like, I'm saying, if someone asks you, oh, hey, like, how's that business going? Yeah, it's going okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Why did you change from doing construction to acting?
Hmm.
Thought it'd be more suited for me. Like I'm saying, like
But it's
yeah,
a
so
good policy in the same way. It's that same muscle as like when you're out and the
yeah,
girls are like, well, "What do you do?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm a fucking dentist. I work at a fucking, I'm a banker, and I got a really good job, and I make this amount of money." It's like the girl already doesn't care. It's like she's just like, you've already lost it all. It's like the right
yeah,
approach. Again, I think we talked about this last time. Is like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm into art. I'm an artist. He's like,
yeah.
really? You're like, yeah, yeah. I'm just, I don't know. I like drawing and stuff. Or she's like, whoa, that's cool. It's like all I said was I'm into drawing and I'm an artist, and somehow that's cooler than that guy who's like a banker and makes huge money. I'm a banker and I make 180 grand a year and da da da. It's like I haven't said anything about money. All I said is I draw fucking pictures, and somehow I'm cooler.
Yeah. But it's cause you owned it though.
Yeah.
That's what's cool. Like now, she might think that's more cooler. She also might think the banker things. Like it just depends what she prefers, right?
Mm.
Like, but she might think the banker thing's more cooler, but it's how you go about it.
If I was,
That's what makes it. That's what makes it more cooler in the sense of like he was trying to overqualify himself.
yeah,
And try to over make his life better than it was because you can just that just rubs off. That just shows well as you're kind of saying, oh, I just do art, I just dabble, like like. And she's saying, so then she starts investing in you, or you just dabble.
yeah, yeah.
What do you paint?
What's your favorite color? And if I was that banker dude, if I was that banker guy, I'd have still just. She's like, "What do you do?" I'm a banker. Say I got in like a nice suit and everything. What do you do? I'm like, I just fuck around with numbers. I don't know. You just literally tell her like, I don't know. Probably something with numbers. Probably something with paper and numbers and fucking printouts or something. She's like, what printouts? I'm like, I don't know. I just fuck around with fucking forms and stuff. Well, what do you mean? What kind of forms? I'm just into that shit, banking and bullshit like that. She's like, what? What is that? See how it's like the same vibe? I went from being an artist to a banker, but literally the vibe didn't even change at all. It was the same shit. I could have then be like, President of the United States, what do you do? Just fuck around at this. I'm in this country, running this countries and bullshit. I don't know. What? Running countries? Like, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I make policies and stuff. You ever heard of America before? Yeah? Yeah, yeah. I live over there. Big house, big white house, actually. What? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You should see my office. It's fucking oval. Yeah.
I've got to say, but if someone doesn't know anything about like the president or stuff like, say you were the president, you done that, and the girl didn't know that you were with the president. That's a pretty cool thing in itself.
Yeah, it is.
Does it mean she doesn't give a fuck? Yeah, it is. But it's like you're going back to there. It's your vibe. It's how you. You're just so casual about it. It's how you set it about. Like if you're going into it, it's like because let's say you're. Well, I'm the artist. I went to art school for 7 years. Like, here's my degree. Here's my degree. Do you know? I'm saying like they're going to run. They're going to run to the house. Like, so I'm saying it's how you go about it. But a lot of guys do make those mistakes that like because even in the interactions, like a lot of guys take qualification part and either don't even have it or they overqualify. Like in the interaction, like the qualification, you're showing your intent and stuff like that. Like a lot of guys either skip over that, but if you do get into like conversation, they start like showing off about it, like and start like, oh, let's try and impress them. Let's try and impress them.
Huge problem, and like I'm all about that now. Like I want like. I'm all about screening the girls now. Like, I'm all about screening them. It's like, girl, like, you need to show me you're not completely fucked up. Like, I need to see that. Like, you need to show me that. Like, how can I see that? Like, are you cool? Like, are you funny at all? Like, Do you have a personality? Like, that's all I'm really trying to do. That's just all I'm doing is just like, I'm just here trying to find out, like, if you're the kind of person that I'd be all right spending some time, like, the next fucking 2.5 minutes with. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I'm trying to do. It's like, oh, you are? Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Anything else? Like, I'm trying to like seed her to qualify herself. That's what I'm always trying to do. It's like, yeah, I'm just like, I'm just like an artist. I just like drawing pictures and shit. That's about it. Like, why? What about you? Oh, well, I'm a model. Oh yeah, you're like a model aircraft or what? No, I'm a model. Like, I'm a model. I'm a model. Oh really? Yeah. What kind of mag? Have you been in what, like Playboy or something, or what are you into? No, I'm a model. I was in fucking I was in fucking Cosmopolitan. Do you want to see? Nah, I'm good. No, I have the photos on my phone right here. I'm going to show you. Now she's already investing tons, right? It's like, no, look, this is a photo shoot I did last year in fucking Spain and blah blah. I'm like, girl, that ain't even you. Stop lying.
See that's one thing about the UK. More Scotland, particularly about the UK, that like it's not as bad as America in that sense, because like I've noticed in America status is a lot more important over there. So that's really ingrained in them, that like, because the way you're portraying that there, like I can picture some Americans like saying that shit. Like I've actually been close to having that sort of experience where like, oh, the model goes crazy because you're kind of just throwing it off. Like,
yeah, it's just funny. It's like it's like.
And I think we spoke about the doctors as well. Like,
oh yeah, they're fucked. Yeah,
doctors are.
They're all doctors. They're all doctors. Every girl I've ever met.
Medical school.
Oh, they're all in medical school. Yeah. Every girl I ever met's in medical school, or she's getting ready to be in medical school, or some bullshit like that, or she's a model, or she's blah blah blah, or she's a fucking promo girl for some bartender from some bar. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying, it's like, that's what they do. It's no fucking big. It's no big like miracle thing. It'd be like a guy saying like, I'm into pickup, or like I'm a bodybuilder. It's like, so what, man? You did a few push-ups. Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's just a label.
Yeah, it's just a label. It's nothing.
It's just it's something you do. It doesn't define who you are.
And they the girls love that shit. And so our job is always just to fucking just dismiss that shit. Nah, I'm good. I'm a doctor. Nah, I don't really believe in that. I don't know what that is. What do you mean you don't know what that is? What do you mean, doctor? I never heard about that. What are you talking, like a witch doctor? You fuck with magic potions or something? No, I'm a fucking neurosurgeon doctor and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, neurosurgeon. I heard about that. Something with the, what's that, like with pets? You're talking about like an animal doctor? No, neurosurgeon. I work with the brain. Okay, yeah, animals' brains. I get you. Like,
yeah. But most are going to go about it in that regard, but then they'll kind of catch on to what you're like.
Because you're just fucking with them is all. It's like, and at the end of the day, I mean,
if they're a bit too serious or something, then you can just brush them off and say, okay, see you later.
Yeah, but if they're half cool, they're gonna get it. It's like, yeah, I know, it's whatever. Like, it's like you're not trying to like. You're not trying to, like, on purpose disrespect them. You're like, no, I mean, I get it. It took a lot of work. You had to go through a lot of classes and a lot of tests. Like, it's cool. But, like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's fucking Saturday night at a bar at fucking, 11:30. Like, can we have a joke, please? And they're like, oh, fuck, yeah, okay, anyway. They realize, right? It's like, it's time to have a laugh. If you're not going to laugh now, when the fuck are you going to laugh? You don't want to laugh, go back to your science experiments.
They don't always laugh though. I've had a few. I had to brush them off. Because that's the thing. If they're not willing to laugh, then I'm not willing to laugh.
For sure.
What I mean is, if someone's not wanting to laugh with you, then it's already a bad start. It's already like, and that's where it comes back to the beginners guys, that even if that's like, because most beginners will like maybe struggle off and be a bit, maybe think, oh, like, why is she not laughing and stuff like that? They might make a joke, but then they don't stick with their grounds and they start thinking, oh, I better be more serious here. That's a mistake. Yeah, so just stick to your grounds and just put it down to experience. Now, because I've had the experience, I don't know what to do with, because let's say I go out tonight and the nightclubs are magically open or something like that. It wouldn't happen more at a nightclub, but let's say it doesn't. This girl would say, "I'm nervous." Go say, "No, you're not." Like that's for the smart people and all that. I'm smart, and then right. So I can get that all to begin with, but then I'm saying you're smart, and then she laughs and says, "Well, a little bit smart." And then okay, we're on.
Now you're in.
She says,
Yeah.
I'm smart. Take I'm take that right. See you later. Yeah.
Right. No.
So,
Yeah. See, there you're in. Like, oh, so you're smart. It's like you're almost saying it like a laugh, like. And the total wrong thing to do is the guy who's like, oh, I took medical. I was going to take medical school too, but then I decided to take fucking dentist school and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, she don't want to talk. It's like, what we're doing so cool, again, because it's correcting the frame of like, it's 11:30 at night on a Saturday. Nobody wants to talk about medical school. Do you understand that, girl? And now, again, she's registering, oh, this guy is cool. Because he's derailing this stuff. And she knows herself, I don't want to talk about med school. I'm in med school all week. Now it's Saturday night. This guy's cool. He's got a fucking beard. I want to have fun. And then you're like, cool, let's have fun. And she's like, okay, good. He's funny. Blah, blah, blah. And now you're already in. It's like, she doesn't even care about what you do. It's fucking irrelevant. She can find out later, I'm that artist guy. I like drawing pictures. It's even cooler. She's like, oh, he's so cool. He likes drawing pictures. Oh, he's so artistic. I love him. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever.
Yeah. How often do you meditate? And then go like, kind of just cool shit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just into meditation and shit. You know, I go to spiritual retreats and all that. And it's like, you just become that, like, cool, like, spiritual guy and, like, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just all for a fucking joke. Like, anyway, that's a little lesson there for beginner dudes if they don't know. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It ain't.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen this to this day, but it was just something that came into my mind. That let's imagine a monk walked into a nightclub.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you think? Like, let's just say your typical monk. Yeah. How do you think he would do?
Great.
I would think most if you were asking the audience here, like, most audience members would probably answer, "Oh, he would suck."
No, he'd be great.
He's getting sandals, right?
He'd be great.
You would actually do quite well.
Oh yeah. Oh, real good.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
No.
He stands out from the crowd.
Yep.
He stands out in his own way because he's doing it for him, not for others.
Yep.
So and then the only thing is, because he's a monk and he wants to keep to his own rules and stuff like that, then he's got that abundance. Like, he's got the abundance of non-abundance. I don't want anyone here, because that's not the lifestyle I want. Like, sure. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying
totally.
Like, he would. I think he would do very well. Yeah.
I totally agree.
A lot of guys would think like that. Yeah. So it was just a thought that was coming into my mind. The point I'm trying to make is that if someone goes in with a don't care attitude, they're just 10 times more effective. Because it's not that it's still that you care. It's just overall you're just laid back and you don't care about little nuanced things and little individual.
Because also
you care as a human being.
Yeah. It's like you're coming from a higher paradigm of, like, it's like the guy who's the artist who's talking to the med school girl, and it's like you're coming from this higher paradigm of, like, girl, it's Saturday night. Like, do you not know that? You missing that? It's Saturday night at a club. Like, we're here for a laugh, right? And then she's like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. And it's the same when that monk guy comes in. He's just like, yeah, I mean, I see what you're doing. You got the lights and the girls are all dressed up. Like, you have little, like, social setup so that some people feel jealous and there's, like, a cool group and a not cool group. He's like, okay, I get it. Like, it's all right. It's nothing new. It's nothing. There's nothing here that's better than what I'm doing. Like, what else? He
Yeah.
just has this attitude of like, cool. Like, I mean, is there anyone interesting here or not? Like, you're playing little games, or you guys are taking photos for Snapchat. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, okay, there's nothing special. I'm gonna leave. See ya. And then people
Yeah.
get the impression of like, where's he going? Like, he's got something better to do, and he's like, yeah, I do. I gotta go look at
Yeah.
I gotta go look at this fucking tree in the park. Can I come? Like, like literally, like that's literally what happens.
And it's midnight. Yeah. And then someone said, "How do you see the tree? It's so dark." And the monk answers, "I always see the tree." That's another thing. And someone else asks, and then I bet someone, I would love to see a monk. It would just be so funny. Yeah, and then the monk says, "What mobile phone do you have?"
Yeah. How many fault?
That's really effective in itself. That's very effective. Yeah.
Then the monk says, "How many how many Instagram followers do you?"
It's all relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, man, it's funny, dude. Like,
Yeah. So I know you go. I think there was a little connection thing
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah. No worries, man.
Yeah. You know, lagged a little bit. Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying. I was just saying. Yeah. Although we went off topic, it is all relevant.
Yeah.
It still comes back to the same thing. Still comes back to the same thing of like, where's the guy at in his life? What does he want? And what's his lifestyle?
Yeah, and making it win-win, and finding out what the girl wants, what you want, and finding out how you can like achieve some of those things together, if at all, and if not, that's fine too, right? And that really is just the vibe we're coming with of like, hey, how are you? Just finding out some things about you, finding out what some of your goals are, what some of mine are, what overlap do we have. Oh, great, we can help each other out. Okay. And that's really all it is. It's like, if there is not any overlap, well, fine. Then there's not. It's like the girl's like, I literally want to, like, I'm out tonight to meet my husband. Any guy that I meet, we have to go on 10 dates. He has to meet my entire extended family. And he has to convert to my, like, random obscure religion and get married, and then we're only gonna have like sex only to have a baby, and that's all. It's like that's the girl's point of view. It's like, and I'm not even gonna smile. I'm not smiling until the wedding day either. And it's like, okay, like there's no overlap here. We got nothing we can do, nothing to work with. Okay, have a good night, and you're done.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I know you're exaggerating, but I'm saying that can happen. And the other thing is as well, like you don't want over planners. Like you don't want to be an over planner because life doesn't stick to your actual plans. You can have a base plan. You can have a plan that you think, okay, that's kind of what I would want to go down. I want to kind of do this. I want to do that. But things might come up that derail that. They might alternate it. So you just got to be flexible about it. Like, okay, no worries. Have a sort of plan in place, have a base plan in place, but don't say at this age I'm going to do this. At this age I'm like, don't be so like religious about it.
Yeah.
Don't be so religious and say, okay, by 30 I'm going to have my child on my birthday.
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem. That's what like all those magazines and those like wedding shows. That's what it ends up doing to the girls, right? Like it ends up creating for them this crazy narrative of like, well, I'm going to have a baby at this age and and I'll get married in that way at that age. And it's like, it's weird because it's unfortunate because what you end up doing is excluding a huge amount of cool guys, right? You end up missing out on so many cool guys that might have wanted to participate in your life, but they can't because as soon as they meet you, you're just on them with this, and they got to be this, and you got to do that, and we have to move in together and then get married. And the problem is that a lot of cool guys, as soon as they feel any of that, they're just gonna, just as I said there, of like, yeah, there's just no overlap here. So you're losing out on all these cool guys that you could have. Who knows? It maybe you weren't going to get married, but you could have at least spent some time with him and seen what's going on, and at least got some progress towards it. But instead, he just couldn't be bothered because he saw where you had all these narratives going and these timelines, and he's just like, I'm just gonna go play fucking football in the park with my friends. Like, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, that's 100% because like with all these timelines, they sort of create a false narrative.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think you were talking narrative there. Yeah, like they create a false narrative in the sense of like at this particular age, at this thing, like okay, you can have those sort of base plans, but don't be so rigid, don't be so religious on them because what about if plans about like, let's say you were saying, oh, at 30 I would quite like to have a child, but what about if you meet a guy at 30, like, are you going to rush it? Or is it worth actually being in the relationship for maybe 4 or 5 months to really get to know the guy and kind of think, right, okay, you delayed it 6 months, big deal,
right?
You delayed it 6 months, that, and you're actually just making yourself healthier and better because you're actually allowing your instincts to like really play your life out. So and so if you're talking about plans, have base plan, but don't be so religious on it. Don't be so rigid. And
for sure,
it just helps. Like I say, it just helps you out. This goes for guys as well, but like it helps you out because you know where what you want to go. You know what you kind of want to do, but things come up in life that maybe change your mindset, change your plans. Like I mean, like let's just take this virus for example. This COVID, no one predicted this. No one so. What about if you were a guy a couple of months ago that says, "Okay, I've seen the videos. I've been watching the videos. I want you to get out," and then all this happens.
I just finished watching every single Tyler video. I started the very first video, and I was told myself I'm not gonna go out. I'm not gonna talk to anybody until I watched every single video. All 392 videos. It took me 2.5 years. I finally watched them all, and now I'm ready to go out. And then what happens?
Yeah, well, then what happens is it's your fault because you watched way too many videos. Well, not even way too many. Like that's religiously watching videos. But let's talk about the guy that's just dabbled in this, so he's watched a few videos and he's thought, okay, maybe it's time to go out. That's a lot better, actually. You should try and watch.
But he wanted to go out, and then COVID came along. Yeah.
Then he's just got to adapt because that is not within. If things are not within his control, then that's fine. Maybe he wanted to hit the nightclub and stuff like that, so he's got to adapt. Okay, can I go out during the day, or is even that too restricted just now? Okay, what I'll have to do is I'll have to work on myself. And then I'll have to come back to this. So you just got to adapt, Like so that's the point I'm saying that like we didn't know this was going to happen, but you can make the most of what's happened.
Oh yeah.
Like we didn't see. I mean, maybe some scientist did, but I'm saying, or maybe some person did, but I'm saying we didn't say in 2015, okay, in 5 years' time we're going to have COVID and we're going to you know what I'm saying, and let's say 10 years down the line, like you don't know how the climate's going to start. We might not even have the city that we live in. We might not have the towns. Like some there's all weather things like hurricanes and stuff like that.
It's also just
using the example. I'm saying you just never know what can happen.
It's part of the bigger picture too of this whole thing of like it's all kind of fine anyway. It's like that's gonna help you in the whole journey. It's like a girl texts you and now she's flaking from a date. It's like you didn't expect that, but it's like, well, that's okay. It's not really a huge deal. I'm gonna go and do some running over at the park. Whatever. It's like it's gonna help you the whole time. It's like you're out hanging out. It's like, oh, there's a lineup at the club. It's like if you can just embrace that and be like, you know what, that's okay. Let's just hang out front for a little bit. There's all kinds of people out front. They're out there smoking cigarettes and stuff. Like, you can just, okay, the club's got a big lineup. You know what? In fucking 30 minutes, it's probably not going to be that big. For 30 minutes, we're out here. There's all kinds of people out here. There's people in lineup. Let's chat. Let's open people up and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can make so much progress if you have that attitude anyway, right?
Yeah, because you're making the most of the situation. And the thing is, like, you're still trying to improve your life. So you're coming from that sort of, like, glass half full mentality that you try to climb the mountain, you try to keep going up step by step, like go up rather than thinking this is too hard, this is too thick,
Right.
like it's raining, like a little bit of snow, like
she's not perfect. She's not a 10 out of 10. It's like, so what, man? She's a 7. She came out.
Yeah.
She's on a date. Make the best of it. Go through the motions. Try to enjoy the time. It's like, these are the things, these are really beginner lessons, bro, that are going to serve you all along the way. It's like these lessons of like, dude, just enjoy the process. Oh, you're out, and you're out at 10 o'clock and there's no one out yet. You still have an hour until the fucking clubs fill up. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? This is your opportunity to chat up with the bartender, to chat with the fucking, the fucking bouncer. You know what? Talk to the fucking homeless guy and have a laugh with him. Just make the best of whatever, like, service. This is a good little concept I've been working on lately. Like, service whatever, like, marketplace you're in right now. Like, if you're just there surrounded by bartenders, service that market. Make the best of that. Work with the bartenders. Hit them up. Make some jokes. If you're sitting there and it's just like 2 girls that are like 2 7s, make the best of it, man. Make that fucking set good. Make those 7s have a great time, man. And it's going to serve you later when you get over to the 8s. You're already going to be wound up, man.
Yeah, that's what I like about small town. That's what I like that because small town has a lot of those more difficult points that you've got to try and adapt to more.
Yeah.
And you might think, oh, small town would be harder for that to happen, but it's harder, but you get more exposure to it. Whereas, like, I always think you're better off with the big volume and the big place overall, right? That's just a no-brainer.
True.
You're always better where the money is, right?
Yeah.
But like, what I have noticed is for the guys that start there and go to the small town, it's so much harder than the guys that went from small town to the big city. Now, what I will say is most guys in a small town don't get started in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder to start in a small town, but if you do start, it's a lot easier to transition.
Totally.
Whereas in a big city, you've got the volume. So you walk into a nightclub, okay, you've got the bartenders, but you've got the hot girls, you've got the cool guys, you've got nerdy guys, you've got all that going on. Whereas in the small town, you walk in, oh, wait a minute, no one's turned up tonight. I'm the only person here. So then you've got to talk to the bartender.
Oh, yeah, that for sure, man. It toughens you up big time. Like, small town, man, it's like, it puts you through your paces. Like, you just have to make do. Like, you just have to make do with what you have to work with, man, with the amount of people, with the interactions. Like, you have to make do. And absolutely, by the time you're ready to go to a big city, it's like, man, I'm ready. Like, I've made the best of this. Like, I'm ready to go to a big city, man. And then when you get there, you're like, okay, cool. Like, I already know the fundamentals. Now it's just working in a different environment. Like, great, man.
Yeah, it's so much easier because like the nearest big city to me is not that far away. It's like a 30-minute train ride or something. So So I'm saying. The thing with that is you just get so much more exposure right away, but it's kind of that motivation exposure. You kind of think, oh well, this is cool. Like you're seeing so many people like, minute by minute.
Oh yeah,
it's seeing. Like I have to go out and search. You know what I'm saying? I have to go out and be on the lookout. And stuff like that. So I'm saying it just makes it so much easier, but it's easier in the sense of like you're motivated, you're more relaxed about it. Like whereas the guy that comes from the big city to the small town, it's just harder because they've just they've just been used to
Yeah.
the easiness of it.
Yeah. You
Whereas,
also get reliant on that huge traffic too. You really
yeah,
do. Like you get reliant on just like huge turnover where you're just like, yeah, next, 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 and you get in that pattern. Whereas when it's not that busy, it's a different pattern. You have to be way more like you don't have as many options, so you just have to try to like make the best of each little interaction. Like you're not gonna see like you're not gonna see like 150 like really hot girls in an afternoon or
no,
like you might not see that. Like you might not see like 2,000 hot women in a weekend. Like over the course of a couple nights out, like
yeah,
you might only see 100. Like
yeah, and that's where overall night probably the weekends like if your town isn't too small, night is a lot better because that's where everyone goes. It's like maybe there's only one nightclub. Like I mean, here there's only like one nightclub. And it's more like a bar club and stuff like that. So I'm saying, yeah, but yeah. But I'm saying the thing is, but during the day you don't get away with that as much. But even at night, even during the week, it's really quiet and stuff like that.
mm,
So you just got to figure out and make the most of where. But during the day, if you're out going out about for a couple of hours, there's a lot of gaps in between.
yeah.
Whereas in the big cities, there's not because it's like, right, you do one, okay, 5 minutes later, boom, you see another one.
Oh yeah.
Like, so there's a small gap, so but 5 minutes is nothing when you're out, like, because you stop, you're in a 10-minute conversation, you go to the next one, and then you think, oh, that conversation was good. Okay, a couple of minutes later, oh, I see one, right, I'm
Oh
over.
yeah, and like
Whereas,
even 5 minutes between interactions could be a lot. It's like you when you're like
yeah,
I can only imagine like downtown New York City, like boom, 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 boom. It's like a or London. I'm sure London's like that. Like
one, yeah, well, most big cities like are kind of like 3 or 4 minutes because
okay, yeah,
like with New York and London, one like when I've been in London, you're talking every 1 or 2 minutes.
yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
right.
thinking. Yeah.
That that's full on. But the only thing about the big city that you've got to watch is the very famous streets are sometimes so busy that like your vocal protection has got to be in point. So I'm saying you're actually better going to the streets that are a little less busy.
Totally. Yeah.
Like
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you ever see other guys out? Have you ever run into other guys?
never in my own town, never in my own town. But when I've been to London, because I've not been that much, I've not seen any guys.
Yeah.
But when I've been into the other cities, Scotland, stuff like that, I've seen quite a few guys. I've seen like, and there's guys that you just know they're doing it, but you don't really know them.
Yeah.
And then I've seen guys out that I've bumped into that I actually know. And I'm kind of all right. I know what he's doing. Yeah, but
Have you got? Do you go up and talk?
not because
Do you go up and talk to them or what?
what's that?
Do you go up and talk to them?
Yeah, well, yeah, I have before, but also they've come up and spoke to me.
Yeah.
And just said, "Oh, are you part of the?" Yeah, you're part, and then kind of said, "Yeah," like, and then sometimes I've hanged about with that guy or that, like for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
sometimes you maybe and sometimes you maybe click with the guy, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see
yeah.
stuff like that, yeah.
I'd be a
But
lot now.
I've not noticed it as lately though.
Oh yeah. I think now I'd be way more strict about it. Like when I first was going out, I'd be like any guy that I met who was like even
Yeah,
the slightest bit keen to come out, I'd be like, yeah, let's go, yeah. Now I wouldn't do that at all, like because it never really pay. I'd be much more strict. I'd be like, no, it needs to be like a more of a serious like we need to become like friends in a way or like be working together on something. Like that's how I see it.
yeah. I'm on this sort of way of if I know the person and their levels are off from me, then I wouldn't.
Mm.
But if I don't know the person, I'll give them. I'll maybe like, and it's just like a one-off because it doesn't like. For the most part, I just go out solo.
Yeah, oh,
Like,
yeah.
without like I've always done that so like 90% of the time I'm out on my own because like so that 10% that I'm out with someone it just makes it more fun in between. You've got someone to
Oh
kind of
man,
chat.
it's fucking night and day, man. The times when I had someone, it was like I couldn't believe like having another person with you, man. Is like it's just such a fucking help. Like it's
Yeah,
crazy. Like man, just one other guy who's just like competent is just like
yeah,
oh, dude, it's just such a benefit for sure. Yeah.
yeah. It's just in between going from one to the other. It's just that little conversation you have, or
Yeah.
maybe they pick up something that you did that was
Totally.
good, or
And
yeah.
and you can
So
deal with
you just get that
groups.
feedback as well.
Yeah, and you can deal with groups too. It's like you can talk to the one girl and he can talk to the friends or whatever. Like, oh,
Yeah,
definitely having a good, yeah, it's a huge benefit, man. You wonder why guys get in those groups and like, like if you worked at RSD or something, it'd be like, what a huge
yeah.
benefit. But yeah,
I think overall, but it's more beneficial to go out yourself. Like
that's how I
now,
did it, man.
yeah, I think it's beneficial just for that little 10%, just to have a bit of fun, but also to get like that feedback, especially if the guy's maybe a slightly higher level than you. Because I always think that, but even if they're slightly lower, it's always good. Like, but when you go out yourself, like it's like the small. It's going back to the small town big city thing, because that's how I done it as well. Like
Mm.
we've spoken about this before, but I'm saying like when you go out yourself and you go solo, that already takes courage and excellent. It takes a sort of self confidence to go and do that.
Oh yeah.
When it's, yeah, so I'm saying you already set yourself up, because there's a lot of guys that get into this and they don't go out themselves at all. Like they've always got to have someone out with them. Always. Yeah,
Yeah, they need a bunch of. I'm gonna meet my buddies. Meet my buddies at the bar. It's like, why?
yeah, and I don't know if it's maybe the small town thing as well, but I'm saying for me, I just can't have that, because even from the beginning, I just didn't have like the reason I done it on my own was because I didn't have anyone to go out with, like partly in the sense of what I was wanting to do. Like I didn't have anyone that was in that area, like nearby.
Hmm.
I then realised there was a few that weren't too far away and stuff like that. But I'm saying at the time I didn't. But also, I think I was just always like that. I always liked to just kind of do things. I always travelled myself.
Yeah,
Like,
I
even
wouldn't.
as a teenager, I always travelled. So
The only
yeah,
way I would do that now is if it was like someone who was like a good fit. Like, say, if you and I were in the town together, or if there was, it
yeah,
would have to be a real benefit. I don't want just some random guy who's like, oh, I'd like to do that. It's like, I'll just go alone, man. Like, I don't really need you, bro.
yeah. I don't mind that as a one off if I don't know what level they're at. Because I'll say, okay, let's see where they're at, and I'll just have a bit of fun with it. Because
Mm,
as long as for the most part anyway, I'm out myself. So
mm.
like, maybe they say, oh, let's come to this big city an hour away. So I'm saying, oh, it's not a day out for me. But like, if I quickly realise that okay, their way will help me, then I'm not going to repeat. It's
Isn't
just
it?
like a one off and
Isn't
leave
it
it at
funny
that.
though that like just between the two of us, like we've both just like gone out on our own for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours, and just like banging the fucking drums. Like it's such a small portion of guys who would ever bother to do that or ever even think that that would be beneficial to them. And it's like you and I both did that, just like just like fucking
Yeah,
clockwork,
yeah,
man, just hammering at it. And it's like just like the dedication and like the determination and just like the will to succeed is just like just so enormous. And like you know what, it's like alone, man, like we were both willing to just be like, no, I'm just gonna do this. It's like if no one else is gonna do it with me, I'll just do it alone.
yeah,
Like I don't need you, I'll do it alone. And it just
yeah,
developed this spirit of just like almost just like entrepreneurship or just like I'll do it myself. Like I'm just gonna do it.
yeah,
And it's like and when you hear other guys who like they almost like, well, I mean, I need to meet my buddies or like oh, I have to see who's gonna go. It's like we hear that and we're just like, what? See who's gonna be there? It's like dude, what are you talking about? Like, you're gonna be there. Like, just go, just
Yeah,
do it. Like, and you see how those guys, you see them when you're out. Groups of like 5 or 6
yeah,
guys, 5 or 6 guys out for a beer, and Joey and Billy and and it's like you see that and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, you don't like you don't even want to be around that. You're just like, I'll just stand over here. I'll stand over here on my own. I'm good, man. You're like, come on
yeah,
over, Richie. Come on over and join our group. Yeah, Billy and Joey are having a birthday, and you're just like, nah, I'll just stand over here, man, on my own.
yeah.
I'd rather be over there on my own. I don't want to be a part of that. I'd rather be separated because those guys are getting nowhere. All the girls can see that's fucking stupid.
Oh
But
yeah,
when they see me or you standing on our by ourselves, they're just like, well, what's that guy doing? It's like, what do you want me to do? I'm not gonna stand over there. You rather me standing with fucking Billy and Joey? No. Well, then I'm standing here. Why? What's up, girl? What are
yeah,
you doing? So yeah.
yeah. But that's the thing. Because they see you yourself, they might paint that in a negative light, right? At first,
Mm.
some might.
Mm.
Quite a few do actually. They might say, "Why the fuck is this guy out in himself?" And I've had that. A few have came up and said, like, they've said, "Why are you yourself?"
Mm.
And I've said, "Why not?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, and see when you say it like that, then it's kind of all right. Like that. Then it goes from negative to positive,
I
right?
know. Yeah,
Like
I've had
because
that. I've had that before too.
it's
Yeah.
a shit test. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, it
shit
is. It
test.
is.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
you can just be like, no, I don't know. I was just at home. I just wanted to come out for a bit. Like, I didn't really have anyone who wanted to come, so I was like, I just wanted to come out and hear some music or chill. Like, so I just came. The fuck you
Yeah.
expect me to do? What, you want me to sit at home and watch Netflix? I
Yeah.
wanted to come out. I didn't have no girls were around to hang out with. No, none. I had no real friends that wanted, so I just came out. You got like, is that a problem or like I don't understand what you're fucking. What is it you're doing? You don't like that or something? Like, no, it's cool. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is funny because like just when I think back, because like for me it was hard doing both, but going out at night time was harder because I'm just more a daytime person. So I'm saying that going out nighttime solo was just harder because it was more of a thing to actually go out because it was more okay. I had to go to like the big city and stuff like that, so it's like big train journey and stuff like that.
Mm.
Also, when you're like during the day, a lot of people are out on their own. Like I just mean in general,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
shops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
At night time, very few are out on their own.
That's right.
You do get the odd. You
Oh
do get the odd
yeah.
guy that go.
Very few. Very
Yeah,
few are out on their own at night.
yeah,
Very few. Like it's very few guys who would just randomly go out on their own. Like you're talking like maybe 1 in 100, like at the most.
yeah.
Like,
I was just going to say that 1%. Yeah, and that's been generous.
that's
Yeah,
probably less than that. It's like, and so when you like when you're that guy, like you got to think you and I have
yeah,
done that like hundreds of times, like easily.
yeah.
And it's like you just become. It just shows the level of like initiative that you just like fucking muster to be that one guy who's just way outside the fucking norm. And you know what I mean? It's like that's what it takes in all disciplines. It's like you want to be a basketball player, you want to be a fucking musician, whatever it is. Like it's gonna take that level of like setting yourself apart to that degree to
Yeah.
succeed.
I just made it even more harder for myself because it was like, okay, you can only drink water when you're actively going to like, because I've got this thing, if I'm actually going out, like, on an active mind, I can only drink water. If I'm just going out just casually and it's a night that I can just do whatever I want, I'm not actually out to meet girls and I don't have to drink water. But if I'm actually out and I've made it like a thing that, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to write up about this or something or what, I only drink water, so like I would do my warm ups and then like I always like this is one of the theory videos that I watched. And like it was something that I now do it subconsciously, but I remember I had to consciously do it at the time. That when I'm holding the water, you know, to hold it, like see what you're drinking, like I'll just get a bottle of water. So like let's say I'm standing, so you don't hold it like that. You
Yeah,
hold
yeah,
it
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You do, like so I like. I think naturally I wasn't too bad with it, but I never used to hold it way down.
Yeah.
So then I always used to say, "You're holding it down, you standing straight.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I used to go around and do my warm ups and stuff like that. Like this is when I was in the club. I used to go around and do like so warm ups, just not talking to anyone, just like saying hi, how you like, and then after the warm ups, the music started, but not many people were up dancing and stuff like that. I used to stand, hold the water down, and just look and smile and say, "Okay, I'm here." Right, and just so that was just maybe for a minute. I just used to stand and enjoy the moment, and then sometimes people used to come up to me. Like, I'm not saying all the time, I'm saying maybe one every fourth time or something. Like, sometimes people just come up to me and say, "Who's this guy just standing like with his like like taking up this amount of space?" Because I was taking up a lot of space as well. Like, and they're all things that I was like consciously doing at the time, not so much subconscious. Now it's more subconscious, but I'm saying those were things that I was like in my mind thinking, okay, like legs apart, water down. Like I was more like military about it at the time. But I'm saying what the point I was trying to make is like I was going out myself. I wasn't drinking alcohol. I was drinking water and stuff. All those things added up because it was just hard thing after hard thing after hard thing, and then you just get used to it. Like, okay, the first time you went out was super hard. Like how the hell did I even go out that night? But then the next night you think, oh, that wasn't too. Then you go out again. Then maybe next week and it's just getting that motivation to do it in the first place. But then you get the momentum. Then you realise, God, everybody's pissed anyway. Everybody doesn't even remember. Like, so then it's just easy. Like, so see for me now, like nightclubs aren't open here, but like I go out myself. I actually prefer going out myself at night.
Yeah.
I actually prefer it. Yeah. Even at night as well. I prefer going out during the day, but even at night, I prefer going out at night. I like to just do, because then I can decide, okay, I can go out at this time, I can come back at this time, I can do that, I can go to this club, I can go to that. Like, whereas when you're always out with people, you've always got to make the decision based on you and the other person.
Yeah, see, I'd need another guy who was like on the same fucking mindset. Who was like, what? Let's do this, let's do that, da 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 da. But yeah, man, you're right, dude. Like just going about it, like not drinking and just getting yourself out there, and I'll just get in this bar, I'll just get in this club, or like one more set, one more interaction. Like, yeah, man, it really like. But you know what, man, and we'll wrap up here soon, man. But you know what? It's like that is like what it takes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the default is like not pretty, man. Like the default for a guy, like the default setting for a guy, it's not going to be good, man. Like it's not going to be a good life, bro. Like you're not going to be happy with your relationship, dude, at all. Like at all, man. So and it's not even your fault, man. Like it's just like the way that our society is set up. Like it's just like, dude, you're not just randomly gonna get like a really, really beautiful girl to like love you and like support you and all this kind of stuff. Like it's just not how things work. It's not how they work. Like you have to develop yourself to become the kind of guy that is gonna attract that girl. And that's gonna take time and effort in one way or the other. Whether it's going out and meeting them, or whether it's just building a business or self-development or whatever it is, it's like one way or another, that's the path you're going to have to take, because that's the kind of fucking species that we are, and that's the kind of world that we live in. So you just have to do it, or you're just not going to be a part of the fucking game. You're just not going to be a part of the fucking dating marketplace at all. And you should just accept that. I mean, that's how I see it. What about you?
I think you should only accept it if it makes you happy.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying, because if you're not willing to put the work in, then like you've got nothing else to say. But like it's so hard. But that's the thing. Like so many people get caught up in this short term thing of like the next week, the next hour, the next minute, and stuff like that. What about the next year, the next 2 years, the next week? Like, because that's where you see the progress.
Yeah.
Like it happens over a long time. It doesn't happen over a short time.
Definitely.
Like now, for some people, it is shorter. I mean, for me, it took quite a while.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. But it probably didn't take as long as I know. Probably other people it would take longer, or it has taken longer.
Yeah.
I know other people it's taken shorter as well. But overall, for me, it did just take a while. So, but it's just going out and enjoying it as well, and just don't put too much pressure on yourself when you're out. That's another thing. Too many guys put focus on this pressure.
Totally.
But that's not to say get lazy when you're out as well. Don't just say, oh well, I'm just out, so as long as I go out, I'm doing well. That's good for the first week or so, but then after that, start putting steps in place.
You get a feel for it. Like, you get a feel for what you need to be doing. Like, you get a feel for, like, oh, I really need a... Some nights, too, it's like one or two interactions that you just, like, really have to make, man. It might just be, like, that one really hard interaction where it's like, oh, this one girl who's, like, with her two friends at the table. It's like, if you just managed to just get in there and you just got in that set, and it's like, sometimes just that one interaction would be like, okay, I needed to do that tonight. And it's like, that's kind of was the main point. The rest, whatever, we'll just see how it goes. But it's like, if you didn't get that one interaction, it's like, you kind of failed in a way.
Yeah, you're not pushing your comfort level. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but even if you don't, like, as long as you're rectifying, you say, okay, I should have went for that one tonight, or I sort of bailed out. Next time, I've got to...
And it happens all the time. I mean, that happens all the time, too. But at least you recognize, you're like, okay, I really should have done that. And other times, you don't even feel the need for it. You're like, it's like, you know what, you get to know for yourself what you should be doing and what you shouldn't. And it's like, it's like, oh, here's a group of, like, 4 girls out for a party. And sometimes you just feel like, you know what? Let's just let them go inside and get themselves settled, and, like, maybe we'll go and talk to them a little bit later or something. You start to get a feel for, like, what fits your night, or it's like you know what, I don't need to talk to one more fucking 7 right now. Like, it's just, that's not helping me.
Yeah, it all comes down to where you're at. I mean, if you're a beginner, like, maybe your goal for the night is to just actually get to the club.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Yeah.
But then you just don't keep repeating that. Okay, maybe the next night you go to the club and you walk around and talk to a couple of people. Okay, and then let's see, you just build upon it. You just don't. But I always think you should be trying it. But it might take you maybe for the first week you just go to the club. So I'm saying it all just depends on where your mind's at, how hard it is and stuff like that. But I get what you're saying as well. Like, maybe you've been out and say, okay, I don't have to go and talk to them just now and stuff like that. Yeah, but then it all comes down to, like, what's your goals when you're out, and like what kind of stage of the journey you're at. Stuff
yeah,
like that.
For sure. Yeah, and now we're getting into more advanced points, because even, like, then more advanced, like, I would say for me probably now I would I don't know, I would put way less pressure on any of it, and I would just see how each kind of interaction was going, and, like, so I would have a little different approach. But again, that might not be good advice for a beginner, right? So, well, let's finish off here. We'll just see if we have any, like, brief pieces of advice, perhaps. Even, we'll say, just for a beginner here. I think we've given advice for beginners before, but you know, why don't you? Do you have a piece?
I was just going to add then to that. Like, I would say during the day you can probably get by with being more laid back about it. I think overall, like this is for a beginner especially, but even for myself to an extent, like, because maybe that's just how I've just been used to, or just because I'm more used to the day or something like that. But, like, during the day you can be more laid back about it, like, and stuff like that. But I feel at night, I know you do it that way, and it might work for you, but for a beginner that definitely wouldn't work. Like, you know how the sort of approach at night, kind of laid back and stuff like that, it wouldn't work for a beginner. But I know some guys at night that does work. Even for me, like, it probably would work to an extent, but I just prefer making a decision before I go out. Or is this going to be, like, an active night, or is it going to be a night off that I'm just laid back and chilled, that I can talk to groups of guys? I can just be, I don't have to talk to anyone. I can just go and sit in the club and do whatever they want. Like, or is it a night off? Like, I go out and, well, I think if we're just going to talk to beginners, I would say at night, be very proactive and be really full on. And during the day, you can be a bit more chilled about it in the sense of like you've still got to go out, you've got to know what you're doing, but you can be more chilled in the way that you go about it. As in, like, okay, you see those ones, okay, you go up, but then you can kind of just like, okay, I'll wander off, and then, okay, there's the next ones, and then like, I think it's a lot easier for a beginner once they go into like the novice or intermediate to just have that as a part of their life. Whereas if they start going out at night and they start getting to the intermediate or advanced, I think if they sort of go in the casual mindset, it might be difficult for them, but more difficult. I don't know if you want to add anything, or
I would kind of agree with that actually. Yeah. Especially as a beginner. Yeah, like, especially at night. Like, yeah, you want to really like hammer at it for sure. And it's like, just get out there, man. Just do as much open almost as you can. Just meet as many as you can, and then you're gonna start to get a feel for it. And then over time, when you get more like intermediate and advanced, then you can take some time to like kind of gauge where you're at a little more. But in the beginning, you're not going to even know. You're just going to be like, dude, just get out there, man. Let's just get you moving and see what happens. Like,
yeah, man. It's just getting the ball rolling.
Oh yeah.
I know right now with this whole thing going on and stuff, it's a bit time, but you've got to like we're talking about, make the most of it. You've got to make it, and like this will pass with your time. So yeah.
Oh, for sure, man.
We covered a lot then tonight.
I think so, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, we got a good chunk, man.
It went off course, but it was all related. That's all, like we say, all these tips kind of come back to like the main focus point of tonight, like about like the guy like settling down and stuff like that, because like it all comes back to like, so like just to really top it off, like for a beginner, just get out and do the thing. For intermediate and advanced guys, then it all comes down to like, what do you want in life, like where are you at in the journey and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. No, and it's good too.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it's good too, man. Like someone can. I think it's good. Like if anyone watched something like this, like it's kind of cool to have like a little bit of a different perspective, you know, because this isn't like a highly produced video by one of like the big companies. Like we're just kind of talking shit, and like generally from our experiences and stuff, and it's like we're just you know, encouraging anyone to invest in themselves and learn some skills and improve yourself, and you can really make progress. So
and then that adds to all different parts of your life as well, because we were just talking social aspect.
Yeah, there's all kinds.
For me right now, that is a priority, because I've just decided to make it a priority. But for someone else, maybe your physical is more important. Maybe, like, so I'm saying you can have all different priorities. Like so, but then even if you have a priority, that doesn't mean you don't have to do other things around it as well. You can still have other aspects. You just know what the number one is. So like you're exercising, meditation, cultures, like your purpose, your business, all that, like family, friends, all those things. Yeah,
it all ties together, man. It's all part of the same system, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so it all ties together.
It does. And it all builds on each other. The better your fitness is doing, the better your health will be. The better your health, the better the fucking business, the better the relationship. It's all part of it, right? And we want to try to build it all together so you can just become the person you want to and have the life you want to, and that'll be better. And as, you know, it's like, I don't know when, as Derek, well, then we'll finish up here, but as Derek says sometimes, he says, yeah, I don't know when the last time I got an angry email from Warren Buffett was. You know, he says, like, you know, says if there's a guy who's successful and he's successful and happy in his life, you're not wanting to be much of a hater. You're not finding any reason to make angry fucking comments on people's YouTube videos, you know?
Yeah. It's a lot harder anyway.
Yeah. Cool, man.
That's another topic, social media. That's a whole topic on itself,
Oh, yeah. It's like we don't, you know, man. We're trying to do, like, something positive, like something productive and positive. It's like, that's all I'm interested in. If it's not that, like, I don't need it. Yeah. Cool, man. Okay, so
good.
We'll wrap her up.
Yeah. So probably going to do another one maybe.
Yeah.
Late summer.
Yeah. Before the summer's over, man, we'll do another, and we'll see how things are progressing at that point.
Yeah, hopefully a bit better anyway.
Hopefully things move.
Yeah.
Move along a little bit. Okay, man.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, Richie.
Take it easy.
Yep. Talk soon.
See you soon. Take care.
See you, buddy.
Bye.